First contact and invasion. The massive object first appeared on the Deep Space Monitoring arrays of the Arecibo Observatory on a quiet Tuesday morning. Dr. Marcus Chen had been reviewing routine data when the anomaly triggered an alert that sent his coffee mug crashing to the floor. The object was moving at impossible speeds, defying known physics, and it was headed directly for Earth. Within hours, every major space agency on the planet had confirmed the sighting. What initially appeared as a single massive object soon revealed itself to be a fleet of ships, their hulls glinting with an otherworldly metallic sheen as they crossed the orbit of Jupiter. "We're looking at first contact," announced UN Secretary-General Adama to a shocked global audience. "We've initiated all protocols established for such an event and are attempting communication on all frequencies." For 3 days, the world held its breath. Stock markets froze, religious leaders called for calm, and military forces worldwide moved to high alert. Then, precisely 72 hours after detection, every digital screen on Earth, from smartphones to billboards, flickered simultaneously to display the same image: a towering insectoid figure with multiple limbs and compound eyes that reflected light like polished obsidian. People of Earth, the translator program struggled with the clicking, multi-tonal language. "We are the Varaxian Collective. Your species has been assessed and found inadequate for galactic integration. Submit to immediate colonization or face extinction. You have 20 Earth hours to surrender your governing authorities." The UN Security Council debated frantically. Some nations advocated immediate surrender to preserve human lives. Others insisted on resistance at all costs. Before any consensus could be reached, the first attacks began. The Varaxian warships strategically positioned themselves over major population centers: New York, Beijing, Moscow, London, Tokyo, and unleashed devastating energy weapons that cut through buildings like they were made of paper. Millions perished in the first hour. Global communications networks collapsed as satellites were systematically destroyed. Commander Sarah Jackson of the United States Space Force watched helplessly from the International Lunar Base as her home planet burned. "We need to find a way to fight back," she whispered to her international crew of 30 scientists and military personnel, now potentially the last free humans in the solar system. On Earth, pockets of resistance formed amid the chaos. In the partially destroyed CERN facility near Geneva, Dr. Elena Reyes had noticed something peculiar during the attacks. The Varaxian weapons created a distinctive electromagnetic signature just before firing. "There's a pattern to their technology," she explained to her team of surviving physicists as they huddled in the underground section of the facility. "Their ships emit a specific frequency before each attack, like they're charging up. If we could generate a counter-frequency." Across the planet, those who survived the initial onslaught began to communicate through old radio networks and jury-rigged systems. The Varaxians, seemingly confident in their superiority, had neglected to eliminate these primitive technologies. Humanity, faced with extinction, did what it had always done best: adapted. In the flooded remnants of Silicon Valley, tech billionaire Zhao Wei gathered surviving engineers in an underwater data center. "If they can hack our digital screens, we can hack them back," he declared, setting teams to work analyzing the alien transmission patterns. The lunar base became humanity's unexpected command center. Commander Jackson established contact with Dr. Reyes and other resistance pockets using precisely timed radio bursts that avoided Varaxian detection. Information flowed from all corners of the globe: observations of Varaxian behavior, weaknesses in their attack patterns, and most importantly, the electromagnetic discovery. Their entire technology seems dependent on a quantum field that operates on predictable frequencies, Dr. Reyes explained during a secure transmission. "If we could generate a sufficiently powerful pulse at the exact counter-frequency, we might be able to disrupt their systems temporarily." "Temporarily isn't enough," Jackson responded. "We need something that can take them down permanently." The breakthrough came from an unlikely source. In Bangalore, 16-year-old programming prodigy Arjun Mehta had been analyzing patterns in the Varaxian communication signals. They're not just transmitting information, he explained through the resistance network. Their entire command structure seems to operate on a synchronized network, like a hive mind. If we could interrupt that synchronization. Dr. Rai's team worked feverishly, combining their electromagnetic discoveries with Arjun's insights. The concept was daring: a globally distributed network of pulse generators that would emit a precisely calibrated electromagnetic signal to disrupt the Varaxian network and weapon systems simultaneously. We're calling it the Pulse Array Network, PAN, Dr. Rai's explained during a global resistance briefing. If we can build generators on each continent and synchronize them perfectly, we might be able to create a devastating feedback loop in their systems. Materials and expertise were gathered in secret as the Varaxians continued their systematic takeover of Earth's resources. The aliens seemed particularly interested in the planet's water and mineral deposits, setting up extraction facilities guarded by fearsome mechanized units. Commander Jackson coordinated the global effort from the lunar base, which remained undetected thanks to a hastily deployed stealth field developed by Japanese scientists before the invasion. Teams in 5 locations: the Amazon Basin, the Australian Outback, the Sahara Desert, the Siberian Wilderness, and an underwater facility in the Mariana Trench, worked simultaneously to build the PAN generators. The Varaxians continued their advance, unaware of humanity's desperate plan. Their systematic approach to conquest became their weakness. Their patterns were predictable, their technology consistent. Every observation provided more data for Dr. Rice and her team to refine the counter-frequency calculations. 90 days after the initial invasion, with nearly 40% of Earth's population lost and 60% of the surface under Varaxian control, humanity prepared for its counterattack. The PAN generators were complete, each one disguised as Varaxian technology to avoid detection. "We'll only get one chance at this," Commander Jackson told the resistance leaders during their final briefing. "Once we activate the PAN, the Varaxians will know what we're doing. If it doesn't work, we have no backup plan." Dr. Rice, her face gaunt from months of relentless work, nodded gravely. "Every calculation has been triple-checked. The counter-frequency will disrupt their network for approximately 8 minutes. That's our window to launch a physical attack on their command ships." As the Varaxian mothership positioned itself over the ruins of New York City to begin construction of their central Earth colony, humanity prepared to strike back. The resistance had secretly amassed conventional weapons and repurposed Varaxian technology from battlefield salvage. Fighter pilots, submariners, special forces operators, all waited for the signal that would begin humanity's last stand. "This is Commander Jackson to all PAN stations," she transmitted from the lunar base as the final countdown began. "Synchronized to atomic clock signal. Prepare for pulse activation on my mark." Across the planet, resistance fighters stood ready at the 5 PAN generators. In her Swiss bunker, Dr. Rice initiated the power-up sequence, her hands steady despite the weight of humanity's future resting on her shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Humanity's counterattack. The pulse array network activated with a silent surge of electromagnetic energy that rippled across the planet. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, across every continent, the Varaxian ships began to falter. Their sleek forms, once hovering with perfect precision, wobbled in the air. The distinctive hum of their propulsion systems stuttered and whined. In the Lunar Base Command Center, Commander Jackson watched through satellite feeds as the Varaxian mothership over New York listed to one side, its weapons ports closing and opening erratically. "PAN is working," she announced to the Global Resistance Channel. "All strike teams, you have your targets. 8 minutes on the clock. Go, go, go." The simultaneous global counterattack erupted with coordinated fury. In the waters off the coast of Japan, submarines launched salvaged Varaxian energy torpedoes at alien water extraction facilities. Across the plains of Europe, resistance fighters in makeshift armored vehicles stormed processing centers with weapons reverse-engineered from alien technology. From hidden hangars, fighter jets screamed into the sky, piloted by the best aviators humanity could muster. They targeted the disoriented Varaxian ships with precision strikes aimed at the weak points identified over months of observation. Commander Jackson herself led the most critical mission. A stealth shuttle launched from the lunar base carrying a strike team of international special forces and Dr. Reyes, who insisted on coming despite the danger. Their target, the Varaxian mothership's command center. "We're entering Earth's atmosphere," Jackson reported as their shuttle burned through the stratosphere. All other teams, status reports. The news flooded in, success after success, as the disoriented Varaxians struggled to respond to the simultaneous attacks. Their coordinated defense had collapsed along with their network, leaving individual units isolated and vulnerable. In Australia, Aboriginal trackers led resistance fighters through the outback to ambush alien mining operations. In the Amazon, indigenous warriors worked alongside former soldiers to disable extraction machinery. Across the African continent, coordinated strikes crippled the Varaxian ground forces that had been systematically stripping the land of resources. As Jackson's shuttle approached the hulking mothership, they faced their first setback. "The pan effect is weakening," Dr. Rice warned, checking her instruments. "Their systems are adapting faster than we calculated." "How much time do we have?" Jackson demanded. 4 minutes, maybe less," Rice replied grimly. Jackson pushed the shuttle to maximum speed, skillfully navigating through the still disoriented defensive grid around the mothership. They'd located an access point, an emergency docking bay that had opened during the system malfunction. "We're going in hot," Jackson announced as she crash-landed the shuttle into the bay. Her team deployed immediately, using a combination of human and salvaged Varaxian weapons to fight their way toward the ship's central core. The alien interior was a maze of organic-looking corridors that pulsed with bioluminescent light. The Varaxian defenders were recovering, their movements becoming more coordinated as their network gradually reestablished itself. 2 minutes left on the pan disruption. Dr. Rice called out as they fought their way deeper into the ship. Jackson's team reached the central chamber, a vast spherical room dominated by a crystalline structure that glowed with shifting patterns of energy. Varaxian commanders, taller and more ornate than their soldiers, moved frantically around control interfaces. "That's their network hub," Dr. Rice whispered, pointing to the crystal. "If we can overload it while their systems are still vulnerable." The Special Forces team provided covering fire as Reyes rushed to the crystal structure with a device they had prepared, a modified pan generator calibrated to maximum power. As she worked to attach it, the Varaxian Supreme Commander turned its compound eyes toward her, mandibles clicking in what seemed like recognition of the threat. 1 minute, Reyes shouted as she finished the attachment. "We need to get out now." The retreat became a desperate fighting withdrawal as the Varaxian systems continued to recover. Jackson's team suffered casualties, but they fought their way back to the shuttle bay as Dr. Rice activated the device remotely. The reaction was immediate and catastrophic. For the Varaxians, the crystal hub imploded, sending a cascading failure through their network that affected not just the mothership, but all connected Varaxian technology worldwide. The mothership began to fall from the sky as Jackson's team barely escaped in their damaged shuttle. Across the globe, alien ships dropped from the skies. Their ground forces froze in place as the controlling network collapsed entirely. In a single coordinated stroke, humanity had turned the tide. The cost had been enormous. Over 3 billion human lives lost, cities in ruins, ecosystems devastated by alien mining and extraction. But as the dust settled, the survivors emerged from hideouts and bunkers, ready to rebuild. In the weeks that followed, humanity discovered something unexpected. The disabled Varaxian technology was intact and could be studied, adapted, and repurposed. The knowledge gained would accelerate human technological development by centuries. 6 months after the counterattack, a new global coalition formed, not just for reconstruction, but for mutual defense and exploration. The lunar base expanded into a proper colony, a watchpoint against future threats. The salvaged alien ships were reverse-engineered, giving humanity its first true interstellar capabilities. Commander Jackson, now Admiral of Earth's first defense fleet, stood with Dr. Rice on the observation deck of the renamed Lunar Command, watching as the first human-piloted ship using Varaxian technology prepared for its maiden voyage. "Do you think there are others out there?" Rice asked. "Other species like the Varaxians?" "Almost certainly," Jackson replied. "But thanks to you, we'll be ready for them. And not all aliens will be enemies. We might find allies too." The ship launched, accelerating with a grace that no purely human-built craft had ever achieved, carrying Earth's representatives to the stars. "The Varaxians thought they found an easy conquest," Jackson said, watching the ship disappear into the distance. "Instead, they awakened a species that refuses to be conquered. Whatever's waiting out there should take note. Humanity strikes back." On a distant world, signals from Earth reached an outpost of a peaceful federation of species. They observed with interest as humans took their first true steps into the galactic community, not as conquered subjects, but as a species that had faced destruction and emerged stronger. "They're coming," one observer noted to another. "Sooner than we expected." "Yes," agreed the second observer. "And after what they've survived, I suspect the galaxy will never be the same."